All right, so we're back with the 72 Cutlass, and now we're gonna get into how we do our filler work over the epoxy. So this here has been sitting for about 5 days, and this epoxy that we use gives you the option to apply your filler right over the top of this epoxy here without even sanding it, with 7-day window on it. So we like to go ahead and put a scratch in it just for peace of mind, and that way we know that it has a good bond. So we've got this thing now sitting here and ready to go with the body work on it, and we've started to do the actual repair on the trunk now. So this is an area here that had the Oldsmobile, and we went ahead and filled that in, welded it up. But you guys can see here that we have some bare metal, and we'll get to how we're gonna treat that later. But we just wanna make sure that we have epoxy underneath the actual filler. That way, wherever there's filler, there's epoxy underneath, and it puts a barrier coat and doesn't allow moisture to come back through on it. So we're going ahead on the body work with it, and we've pulled the door off of it now, and we're working on stands with this. So that way you can get the full length of the panel, block it out easy, and not have to do all that bending over on it. So, all right, so I'm gonna show you what filler we like to use here at this shop, and we're using the Rage Optex. And this is the filler here that actually changes colors once it is dry, and it lets you know when you can actually get on it. So it's a really nice premium filler, and that's what we're using for the Bondo. All right, so we're wiping on the glaze now over the Optex body filler, and I'm gonna show you guys how it actually changes colors from the pink to the blue once it sets up. So we like this product, not just for the to let you know it's dry, but it is a good filler. So hang tight, I'm gonna have this on a time lapse, and you guys will see it sped up. All right, so that's it there after it turns blue and it gets hard, and then you know you're ready to sand it. So we're using the finishing glaze as well of the Optex. This here stuff is a good quality product, and we're really liking it. So that's what we're using for the Bondo and the putties. All right, so we got the bigger dents fixed on the trunk lid here, and this is how we're gonna be doing the whole entire job. So once we epoxy, we put the Bondo on, and now that it's over here again, we're gonna go ahead and treat the areas where we have bare metal with an epoxy again. As soon as a part is ready, we're gonna go ahead and get it treated. That way there's no chance of rust occurring again. All right, so we got all the stuff taped up and ready to go in the booth, and I was just finishing up clearing one. I'm gonna take you guys in there and show you a really nice color on a BMW real quick, and then we'll hit bake and we'll pull this stuff out and we'll get that stuff done. All right, so I got the car out of the booth, and I wanted to show you this color here. See that pearl? It's got a really pretty pearl on it, this BMW color. And I'll leave a little thing in the screen right now of the paint coat on it if anybody's interested in this color here. But it's got a crazy like red gold pearl on a gray, so really pretty color. So let's go ahead and get these parts in the booth, get them clean, and get them treated. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is clean off the parts, and we're using an alcohol cleaner on this. So we're gonna clean it and get this thing all cleaned. And what we did was we went around on the epoxy that we didn't do body work with, and we hit this with a 180 grit lightly. And now we're gonna go ahead and re-epoxy just the areas where they're bare metal. We're gonna let that flash off, and then we're gonna move right into our slick sand over the top of the epoxy. And that is a recommended procedure from PPG, that you can use Bondo or spray filler over the top of the epoxy within 7 days. So once this flashes, you can go ahead and apply your slick sand right on the top of the epoxy. So we're gonna go ahead now and clean it. All right, so everything is clean, and now I'm gonna go ahead and mix up my epoxy primer. All right, so we've got our epoxy on there now, and you guys seen that I put it light. I didn't really try to get it all over the Bondo and all that stuff. We're just trying to get it on the metal. That way it has good adhesion, because the slick sand will stick fine to the Bondo that we're putting on this. So I just go around all my edges in case there's any bare metal around the edge with the epoxy. I hit the main big areas with the epoxy, and then we'll move right into our slick sand. We're gonna let that flash for about 15 minutes. And then we're gonna move right into the slick sand. That way we don't have to re-sand it on this one. So that's the best outcome that I've had through the years of doing body work, is stripping it down to the bare metal, putting down the epoxy, doing the body work, and doing it in these stages, because you eliminate a lot of time of block sanding with primer. If you just move right into your slick sand, it gives you more mils. That way you can block it and get a laser straight body work. And then you use your 2K just as something to sand for adhesion for your top coat. So let's just flash. We'll go back in, we'll hit it with our slick sand, and then I'll show it to you guys all finished up. All right, so we got our 2 coats of the slick sand on, and now we'll be able to block that down again with like a 180 grit or a 220 grit long board, and then move into our 2K product, which will be just for the final sand on it. So that's the best way to eliminate any ripple in a panel. And this one here is gonna be a beautiful, beautiful job, because we took it all the way down to the bare metal, because a lot of paint jobs you'll see out there on the streets is a lot of paint buildup. And when you get too much paint on a panel, you'll start to get distortion and you'll get ripples in it. no matter what you do. So once we get done with this one here, you'll have one paint job because it's down to bare metal, and then it's gonna be laser straight. So this is the procedures on how we do it. And we still have a lot more body work to do to the actual body of the car, and I'll show you some of that too. But I wanted to show you how we do the body work over the top of the epoxy, and then we treat it with our slick sand. So really a good way of doing it. It's got the best holdout that I've seen, and this is how I've been doing it for years, and I've never had a problem with any of these products. So I hope you guys got something out of it, and we'll see you guys on the next one.